Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to week 6 of English Indonesian translation. And this week we're going to be focusing more on practice. And we will use this article by Rasman, published in theconfucius.com. Why younger is not always better when it comes to learning English. This is the link if you prefer to click it and read it on your own comfort, on your own computer. It's okay. You can just copy the link or just type the title. It will be appear in Google as well. Okay, so this is the text that we will translate to Indonesia. And here are the texts. I think three, four, five. So there are 5 slides in total. So what we need to do is what you're gonna do is actually choose one slide of 5 and then translate them into Indonesia, and you can write them in the comment section of this video. Okay, but let's read this first. Yeah, why younger is not always better when it comes to learning English by Rasman. I think this is a really interesting article. Many lay people think children have an innate ability to soak up a new language like a thirsty little sponge, and that neither teenagers nor adults can keep pace with them. They believe this natural capacity for acquiring multiple languages will decline with age. This belief encouraged some researchers to propose a time limit to learn a new language. They argue that children are more adept at language acquisition due to the plasticity of their brains, which will have become immutable at the onset of puberty. Recent empirical studies, however, have provided evidence against the idea of an upper age limit to learning a new language. More researchers now agree that the ability to achieve high or even native flight proficiency cannot be exclusively attributed to age and is affected by other factors, such as cognitive, social, and emotional aspects. Old and young have the same learning capacity. The idea that there is a critical period to learn a language is based on the observation that children and adults have different brain structures. Children under the age of 9 or 13 are believed to have a brain organization capable of learning more than one language without any confusion. After this period, they will find it difficult, if not impossible, to reach native flight proficiency in a language because their brains will have become completely lateralized. The lateralized brain refers to the condition where the language function have been completely localized to one side of the brain, usually the left hemisphere. As a result, language learning becomes more conscious and challenging. That conclusion has become common knowledge despite its implausibility, as it relies on a direct relationship between the patterns of brain activation and the level of language proficiency. Even assuming such close linkage does occur, holding fast to this idea has become much harder as ample evidence is now at odds with it. A recent study found much of the brain plasticity that exists in childhood is still preserved in adulthood. This means older learners are also capable of being highly proficient. Younger is not always better. Late starters can catch up with early starters. When it comes to attaining proficiency, much research has also provided evidence against the notion that late starters will always lag behind early beginners. For instance, Carmen Munoz, an English linguistics and applied linguistics professor at the University of Barcelona, Spain, and her research team found early starters do not outperform late starters when both groups receive the same amount of language instructions. They drew this conclusion from data gathered through their long-term research project about the development of English proficiency in learners aged 8, 11, 14, and over 18 in Barcelona. In a similar study, an expert in psycholinguistics and language acquisition from Austria, Simon E. Finnegar, and his colleague David Singleton arrived at the same conclusion. They analyzed data from 200 English learners in different age groups between 2009 and 2015 in Switzerland. They concluded that late beginners can quickly catch up with the level of proficiency attained by the early starters. This research further indicates that the belief about the benefit of learning English early does not hold up. Furthermore, some studies have provided evidence that late second language learners can reach native-like levels of proficiency. Many who started to learn English later at the age of 20 were reported to have become native-like speakers. All of the evidence challenge the assumption that learning English early can give competitive advantage. Factors other than age affect children's proficiency. Consensus is growing among researchers that children's second language development depends on the interactions between cognitive, social, and emotional factors. These factors include the amount of opportunities to learn English, motivation, aptitude, identity, and willingness to communicate. Some of these factors can be more prominent than the others, depending on the learner's individual differences and socio-cultural context. For instance, those who are immersed in English-speaking countries are more likely to be fluent in English. This is because they have more opportunities to receive direct input from target language speakers. Another example relates to young learners' identities and family backgrounds. Early starters coming from wealthy families are likely to attain better outcomes than those from a poor background. The former usually have adequate teaching inputs along with much wider opportunities to practice their English through daily communication with parents. Private tutors and other people with high level of English proficiency in their immediate environment. This extreme variability in early starters' learning outcomes again indicates that younger is not always better. Second language learners from a different age group seem to have the same prospects of becoming highly proficient speakers as long as they are placed in a supportive environment. Generalizations about age factors in language learning are therefore baseless. Outcomes are dependent on the complex relationship among various variables. See, this is a really interesting article. So I hope you can have a really enjoyable moment translating it into Indonesia. You can choose slide 1 to 5, whichever you want to do. Ya. Tapi saya harap jangan pilih yang pendek-pendek saja. Nanti yang panjang kayak slide 3, 4, 5 tidak ada yang pilih. Semoga ada yang pilih ya. Tapi terserah, saya kembalikan lagi mau pilih slide yang mana untuk diterjemahkan ke bahasa Indonesia dan tulis di kolom komentar. Okay, that's all for um week 6, and I will see you next time. Thank you for coming and joining virtually.